Hello and welcome to the Dome in Doncaster for our Polaris 23 prelims. I'm Daniel Strauss. I am joined as always by Tom Barlow and Chelsea Lee. Guys, we have a massive 13 fights, some really excellent matches on our prelims tonight. Let's have a look at them. Here we go. So we have to begin with Jake Goldthorpe taking on Adam Park. We've got some interesting matches there with Sean Stewart, Jamie FAULDING, some guys that we've seen on the competition scene. Let's have a look at our top of the card here. And here is the top of the prelims. We've got some excellent matches. Sam Quinn, Josh Cherrington. We've got Alex Thompson, Carl ELLENOR, Julia Scardone taking on Melissa Hill. And then we've got the Goth Lord, Shane Curtis, Craig McIntosh, Liam Cann. And without further ado, let's have a look at our first match tonight. Okay, so this is our first match. We have Jake Goldthorpe from Combat Base, and we have Adam Park from Doncaster Martial Arts. That is the local here. You're going to hear lots of support in the crowd. Let's throw it down to our MC tonight, Michael Vale, to get these guys on the mat.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Dome here in Doncaster, England, where tonight we present to you Polaris 23, an evening of world-class grappling. So now let's get the action started. Our first bout is in the featherweight division and is scheduled for 10 minutes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, official weight 59.8 kilos. Representing AVT Combat Base, let's welcome Jake Goldthorpe. Corner, he stands 5 feet 4 inches tall, official weight 63.8 kilos. Representing Doncaster Martial Arts Center, let's welcome Adam Park.
As expected, a lot of noise from the crowd for the first local. We've got quite a few competitors tonight from Doncaster Martial Arts Center. Obviously, we are in Doncaster, so they're going to have a huge crowd here. 33 years old, is the black belt. You know, not a massive amount of experience, but has had some success in local competitions. He's medaled bronzes, silvers, golds at the British Open throughout the different belts. He did want us to tell him he's got his wife in the crowd who is 8 months pregnant with his first kid, so competing for more than just, you know, with a little bit more gusto perhaps, knowing that she's out there watching him. And a big round of applause as he steps onto the mat. Okay, so here we go, our first match on Polaris 23. Guard pull pretty early here from Jake.
Yeah, nice little sprawl by Adam just to kill that inside hook and prevent the false reposition.
Adam pretty heavy on the knees here, trying to pressure past that false reap.
Yeah, this is a kind of guard that we've seen, you know, become very common in submission grappling, where they have that inside hook and they're looking for that violent arm lock. Guys have become quite aware of it, and it's become a lot more difficult for people to start using it.
I liked the way that Adam was using the windshield wiper over the bottom leg there. It was a nice little attempt at a pass.
Yeah, so it looks like it looked like for a second that Jake's right leg was all the way across, but then I think he's managed to get that butterfly hook back on the inside. Attacking a guillotine here, arming guillotine. I mean, the position won't be fantastic, but there we go. The head slips out there, and the reason why I don't think you can set up a great position from there is because it's very hard to get your shoulder over the top of the neck from when you're flat on your back like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice little combination that we saw Jake use, though, going from that guillotine straight onto the arm, keeping Adam on his toes.
It's a good way to combine the leg attacks with just some other attacks, is snapping down the head, looking at guillotine, starting to threaten some other things to open the legs out.
Oh, beautifully done
sweep.
from that dogfight position as
lovely.
Adam pushes into him and Jake hits that reversal, gets top position here now.
He's got a really nice body lock there, but looks like he's abandoning it out of fear of this guillotine.
Yeah.
What's your take, Dan?
Yeah, I don't think it was pretty tight there, but you know, enough to elicit a reaction like you said it did. You know, whether he just felt like he wasn't enjoying that body lock or whether he wanted to, and I think we can get used to this from all of the athletes tonight. I think we got 3 or 4 on our prelims card from Doncaster Martial Arts. I mean, we have a pretty packed out. I do believe that this is the biggest Polaris audience that we've ever had. Oh, look, head and arm choke here.
Nice combination.
Yeah, beautiful
movement.
little transition.
I think
now
a back
to the
take.
back.
There it is. Both hooks secured here.
Really smooth back take. Nice chair sit.
Yeah, I'd expect Jake to try and pull that right leg out and try and take a body triangle position, or just bring that leg across the hips, make it harder for Adam to escape. Adam's doing a pretty good job of keeping those legs wrapped around that leg to stop that from happening. But whilst he's doing that, Jake is going to get nasty on this upper body, trying to get that forearm underneath the neck here. A hand over the face there, I mean.
Well, if it's good enough for Marcelo Garcia, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's the legality on, like, I know obviously IBJJF you need to be careful. There's the body triangle.
Yep. It's all fine as long as you don't grab the face.
Yeah.
I think that, honestly, the hooks looked better than the body triangle.
I don't know. A good squeeze with that body triangle. I think
meant the initial hook position.
Oh, initial hook position, yeah.
Now it's a much better body triangle position. He's at a better angle now.
I mean, Adam's doing a pretty good job defending here, grip fighting, but
when you're in these kind of tiny divisions, sometimes the body triangle is actually less effective because there's so much space to slip around inside of it.
I'm sure they'll appreciate you referring to them as tiny divisions.
Well, I mean, compared to 90 kilos.
No, I agree. I agree. Your words, not mine. Inside body triangle here.
We all have our skills, all right? We can't all be giants, Dan.
Dan, you were surely once in this division as well, I remember.
Yeah, I seem to remember.
Yeah.
I competed against you at 66 kilos, I think.
No,
so.
I think it was 62.
Maybe it was at 62, yeah.
I mean, this is 60 kilos, so, or sorry, 64.
My first competition, I weighed in at 55.
Nice.
How's that? That was the tiny division. I mean, Adam's done a pretty good job here.
Yeah, really nice work.
Removing the hooks, but
that was a good read back take there too.
Yeah, Jake
Not
is
fast enough on the turn.
Yeah, Jake is on him like a rash with this back position here, and you know we still got plenty of time. You know, we need to remind people if they don't know already about the Polaris scoring. They are scored on 3 hypothetical rounds over the 10 minutes. You know, so you give a victory to each of the 3 minutes and 20 seconds that we go through the match, and then whoever has more victories of those 3, best out of 3 basically.
Yeah, we've got that old school ankle lock from the back. It doesn't look like it's affecting Jake at all.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a big difference between when someone has the legs crossed and when they have an inside body triangle position. You get a lot less, because the fulcrum's a lot further away, so a lot of people can put a bit of pressure in here, but I mean, it's not going to be much more than quite uncomfortable. And when you're opening the prelims of a massive card like this on Polaris, you're not going to be tapping to anything unless it's really on.
If I were Jake, I'd be looking at a Kimura trap here to try and start to change the angle. Clearly, Adam's done a really good job defending the neck.
5 minutes.
I would be starting to look at maybe going to an armbar or a Kimura, trying to really open the game out a little bit more. He's clearly won these 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're partway through the second one, so it could all change from here, but yeah, he's definitely up at the moment.
You know, what I'm really liking from Jake is...
he's continuing attacking.
He's locked off here. I don't think the arm's underneath the neck, but a lot of the time people don't even bother trying to do it, squeezing from here, but...
he's lost it.
Adam Part not going to be allowing that face crush to be the end of this.
Half Nelson position that the Danaher team made famous.
Yeah, what I was going to say, what I really like from Jake so far in the back position is controlling the knuckle lines. You can see when he looks to take an underhook and control the wrist, he's not actually controlling the wrist. He's grabbing over the knuckles, which gives you more control. Again, just aggressively trying to fight. If I was Jake right now, I'd be looking to try and isolate one of the arms. This is what we're really seeing in top-level competition. It's too difficult to just choke someone from the back like you used to. Now, I mean, he might be close to getting underneath the neck there, but you can see how much trouble he's having getting that arm underneath. So most people nowadays will be looking to go, you know, straight jacket and then isolate one of those arms with the legs and then allowing you to have a 2-on-1 to really finish and get the arm underneath.
Yeah, always seeing that jaw crush. We actually saw it, I think, last weekend in the UFC.
We did indeed. Grasso and Valentina.
Yeah, Shevchenko, right?
Yeah, and you saw that. Do you see the picture when she
head.
released the choke and her head was red,
crazy.
but the part that she was choking was just completely white.
It just shows the show was an actual blood choke rather than just a face squash.
Mm.
We're into that last round now.
I mean, you've got to give it to Adam Part. He is just...
He's grinding it out.
Yeah, he's... And really, I don't think that Jake's got... He's not got the arm underneath the neck at all. No. Like I was saying, you can see how he's controlling those knuckle lines from that back position. And they're going to be restarted in the middle from that back position again.
I mean, Jake's done a fantastic job of controlling the back position throughout all of the kind of half escapes that Adam's done. Jake's been able to counter, regain the back control, and then start attacking the neck.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be a shame if Jake wasn't able to get this submission finished tonight because he has been so dominant from this back position. But it really just goes to show the defensive capabilities of his opponent.
But Adam's got that separation now in the legs, and he's stepping over the top.
Arms underneath the neck there. He's fighting the hand, but I think this is... Oh, he managed to get the chin back through. That was close. That's the first time he actually got any of his arm underneath the chin around the neck of his opponent. Is he again? Oh, this is going to be game over, I think.
This one's on, I think.
Adam's gutting it out.
Yep, I mean, I wonder if he's going to go out here. And there is the tap. I mean, waited for the absolute last possible second there. A fantastic performance by Jake GOLDTHORPE in his Polaris debut, opening up our prelims tonight with a submission victory. Just a great performance from the get-go. A long time spent on that back position.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful initial transition to set it up as well. Mixing up the passing and back takes. Really nice work, and then excellent back control, as you said.
We're going to have a look at some of those now. That guillotine attempt earlier, but just showing the position wasn't great there, so the head pops out.
We see that great sweep.
A great performance by both men here, but Jake GOLDTHORPE taking the victory. Let's send it down to our MC tonight to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by tap out via rear naked choke, Jake GOLDTHORPE.
Yo, let's do this.
Get up, I know y'all hear me. Show love when I'm in your city. Whoa, 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 nah, nah, nah.
Yo, let's do this.
Get up, I know y'all hear me. Show love when I'm in your city. Whoa, 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 nah, nah, nah.
So next up, we have a under 100 kilo no-gi match between Carlson Gracie Hull's Edward Phillipson taking on Sheffield Shoot Fighters Stephen Ellis. Let's go our MC tonight, Michael Vale, to get these fighters on the mat.
Let's get the action started. Our next bout is in the heavyweight division and is scheduled for 10 minutes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 6 feet tall, official weight 93 kilos. Representing Carlson Gracie Hull, please welcome Edward Phillipson.
So talking about a home crowd advantage, Hull's not far away at all from here, but more importantly, his coach is, of course, Owen Livesey, who is the main event tonight, the super fight for our main card. So I'm sure that this team is going to be bringing a lot of people to come and support. 30 years old, he is a purple belt, has taken plenty of medals at local competitions, including Empire and the British Open. Looking forward to making his Polaris debut tonight.
And now let's welcome his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands 6 feet 7 inches tall, official weight 99.4 kilos. Representing Sheffield Shoot Fighters, let's welcome Stephen Ellis.
Stephen Ellis out of Sheffield Shoot Fighters, just 22 years old. Great walkout song, eh? He is a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but mainly his main focus isn't jiu-jitsu at all, it's MMA. He is an amateur MMA competitor. He's won his last bout via rear naked choke. So this is possibly an interesting clash of styles between possibly more of a pure grappler taking on someone who has more of a broad focus on those martial arts. I mean, and as he walks on now, he is a very tall lad indeed. Giant of a man.
Yeah, he just towers over Ed.
I know that Ed weighed in at 93 kilos, but they don't look like they're in the same division, do they?
I'm not sure.
So Stephen's win was a standing rear naked choke, not even on the ground.
Ah, it's the best kind.
Yeah. But if he's taller, you know, Ed's coming from a place where they have good takedowns. It's going to be good for him, you know. Beautiful takedown.
With Owen in his corner over there, I feel like you have to start this match with a big takedown, otherwise you're going to be in trouble when you get back to your gym.
Yeah, he's done a great job getting straight into side control as well.
He's looking to try and tie up a guillotine on from that side control there, but it's a difficult position to do so because your chest is so close. It's difficult to find that space there. Getting nasty forearm pressure into the neck. Nice hip turn here, but far side armbar possibly, or Kimura from here.
Yeah, or potentially he could sit into the reverse triangle as well. We know that Owen comes from that judo background. It looks like he's trying to get to it here.
He's thinking about it, isn't it? I mean, his hands aren't in the right position for the Kimura. He'd have to switch him over, but he is in the correct position for an armbar if he wants it. I think he's going to go for it. If not, he's going to try it and come take the back, but it almost feels like a little bit of hesitation there.
I felt a hesitation.
That hesitation meant that he got reversed, and now he finds himself underneath side control. I mean, a really quick reversal of fates there.
This is very common in blue belt, purple belt jiu-jitsu, though. We see this all the time.
We see all the positions.
Yeah, all the positions, no points scored.
yeah.
They make for entertaining matches, though, quite often.
They do. They're often the most exciting matches because it's so back and forth.
Stefan now trying to remove one of those incredibly long shins from inside that half guard
like
position
he put
there.
himself in half guard as well. Like it was a specific choice that he did.
Well, there's various things that you could do from that sort of position, such as attack a Kimura on the far side. But in the position that his opponent's in, I mean, that's not really an option. But yeah, you're right, he did that. For me, it looked like he was going to maybe go for a rolling back take, which I thought would be super funky. But nothing to suggest that that's what he's looking to do now.
Yeah, he does look like he's getting under those arms pretty well, like destroying the frames of Ed. But so this is a good position to do it from.
Oh, there we go. I talk about far side Kimura. Now he passes back the side control. I mean, this is almost exactly what happened, but the other way around earlier in this match. He looks like he's switching now to that sort of nasty, crushing, I don't know what the name is for it, but when you bring your hands to your elbows from that Kimura position, it's like a...
Maybe a power Kimura, they call it, or something like that.
Some silly name.
I think both of these guys could have had more success if they had slowed down and maybe used a head and arm position to just crush their opponent a little bit and burn some of this like nervous energy that they both seem to have.
Yeah, Ed's trying to roll and get on top now, but he's going to expose his back if he's not careful.
Yeah, and he's going to potentially expose that neck as well. This is like classic Khabibing going on right now. That Dagestani handcuff position.
It looks like he's almost got both hooks in from the back position here.
He did for a second, but oh, there it is again.
Yeah, he's a little bit off to the side.
Well, he's got a lot of leg to deal with.
Certainly does.
We seem to have swapped entirely to a new division in this round.
Well, from tiny division to giant
division. Yeah.
He looks like he's attacking this rear naked choke now. I think it might be underneath the neck from the way that...
Yeah, we have no visual.
And there it is, it's over. Wow. A little dance to celebrate there. And then the real emotion comes out. I mean, I'd say come from behind, but I mean, only the first 30 or so seconds of that match where he was on his back, underneath side control, a little bit of hesitation from Edward Philipson to on that nice armbar position. You just wish that he would have gone for something, finds himself on his back, and eventually Stefanello is just able to get to the back position and finish that rear naked choke.
It was a beautiful takedown, though.
Yeah, it was
really
very nice.
Lovely. Really nice finish on that single.
Yeah.
And he just got sprawled out and crushed from this choking position. Obviously with those long arms of
long legs
Steven,
too.
yeah, really helping him get that finish.
Let's send it down to MC tonight to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by tap out via rear naked choke, Steven Ellis.
Kenna here. I used Mike last August. I would highly recommend him to any other athletes looking to safely and efficiently reach their competitive weight goals.
My name is Daniel Strauss. I think that there is no one else out there in the UK who is as knowledgeable and experienced when it comes to nutrition, especially for jiu-jitsu athletes.
I'm Lloyd Cooper. I used unorthodox nutrition. The effect was great, hugely recommended. He did a really, really good job.
My name's Leonie Munslow. Since I've been working with unorthodox nutrition, I've never missed weight. The devil is in the detail with Mike, and it really works.
A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm only like a hobbyist, a white belt doing 2 or 3 sessions a week. That's perfect. Most of my clients are not the pros. It's the everyday guys, the hobbyists, who want to get the most from their training. The difference that we can make to the average BJJ hobbyist is threefold. First is health, making them feel better, making them sleep better. The second would be performance. Most people who come to me are massively undereating. Like, rather than being wrecked after every session for a couple of days, performance and recovery takes on like a whole new life of its own. The last is, whether we want to admit it or not, is looking jacked. The best ways for people to get in touch is go to the website unorthodoxnutrition.co.uk, any social media, Unorthodox Nutrition. Ask me whatever you like and I'm more than happy to answer anything.
Okay, next up, we've got a match I'm really looking forward to, an under 97 kilo division. It is Paul Lukowski from Nottingham MMA taking on Ian Jones from Combat Base. Let's have our MC tonight, Michael Vale, bring these guys onto the map.
Let's get the action started. Our next bout is in the heavyweight division and is scheduled for 10 minutes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 6 feet tall, official weight 96.8 kilos. Representing Nottingham MMA, please welcome Paul Lukowski.
So
Let's welcome his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 95.8 kilos. Representing Combat Base, let's welcome Ian Jones.
And Paul's opponent tonight is Ian Jones, a very active competitor around the northern scene. MMA experience, kickboxing experience, and I mean 19 pro MMA fights going back as early as 2004. Very wrestling heavy, known, if you follow the catch wrestling scene over at the Wigan Snake Pit, he has won 3 times the World Catch Wrestling World Championships. I actually cornered against Ian a couple of years back when he was going against none other than former UFC heavyweight champion Josh Barnett. So this is a man who has stepped on with the literal best of the best. Tonight he will be making his Polaris debut against a pretty powerful opponent in Paul. And I think we might expect Paul to be pulling guard tonight. I was talking to him earlier. I'm not sure how happy he was about being a human highlight reel for Owen Livesey on his match against him on Grapple Fest. So I think I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see a guard pull in the sort of maybe first minute, but I don't know. Maybe Paul's going to feel him out a little bit.
Doesn't look like a guard pulling stance to me.
It does not look like a guard pulling stance, does it?
No, it looks like a.
I'm going to try and wrestle you.
Yeah,
stance.
like a wrestling stance.
You lied to me, Paul.
There's a bit of the old collar tying going on, the heavy collar ties.
Have to say, Ian's very brave for not wearing a rash guard in here. It is freezing.
Yeah. He also has a bit of a look of Jeff Monson.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually. Heavily tattooed and quite a thick boy, I think we can say. I believe that's the technical vernacular.
With 2 C's.
Oh, nice shot there from Paul, and uses it to pull into a half guard position. Immediately, Ian Jones tries to tie up a guillotine there, but Paul's able to defend it. He finds himself on his back in half guard now.
He has to be careful extending this bottom leg away because it's easy to step over.
So this is something that, I mean, I'm surprised that Paul allowed that. Obviously, when he's in that guard position, you know, Ian has to move forward into it. He can't just step backwards and expect Paul to stand back up. So you can get pulled into this
stand-up game.
Yeah, into that battle of someone stands up and then you follow them back up into position. But I think if Paul wants to play guard, then he should just stay on his back and play guard.
That was like he tried to look like he tried to pull guard
and then wrestle up.
Yeah, and then use the wrestle up from that position.
It's not a bad strategy.
Decent strategy.
I think if I was Paul, I would be looking to pull guard, get underneath Ian, and start, you know, either attacking the legs or using positions such as De La Hiva or X guard, one of my favorite positions for the bigger boys, to try and get on top.
I don't know. I think Paul looks a little bit sprightlier, so he might be able to use some speed while Ian's on his knees to kind of scramble around towards the back. I think that's what he was kind of aiming at there.
I mean, we do have to say Ian Jones is 43 years old, so no spring chicken, I'm sorry to say, Ian.
Thanks, Dan. For all the Masters athletes out there.
How old are you?
41. I'm nearly 42.
Oh, God, Dan, don't get him started.
Oh, dear.
You're just going to complain about how old he is all night.
I'm honestly very impressed with how well Ian's doing for such an old man. Ian's doing a great job of just using that head, like tying up that head and then working that underhook. It's kind of a bit wrestling-esque with the cow catcher position.
Well, that really is Ian's background when it comes to grappling. Very wrestling heavy, that catch wrestling style. He's obviously, just looking at his physique, he is a big, strong dude. And it can be really, really difficult to do anything against someone like that.
See, this is the extension on that bottom leg that I was talking about. It's one of the biggest mistakes we've been seeing lately in our gym, like in our competitors, is this extension of the bottom leg, reaching for your opponent. Just gives them space to pass into.
Yeah, if Ian stays on his knees, it's going to be pretty tricky to pass Paul's guard.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be very mobile in that position. Yeah, it shuts down the leg attacks, but you know, unless he can really close the space, work into a body lock type position, it's going to be tricky, you know.
Paul needs to keep the distance.
Paul's done a good job of just defending it, though. There's some slightly different rules in catch wrestling, isn't that right, Dan? Where you're not allowed on your back, I think. Is that one of them? Or
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you really can't use the majority of jiu-jitsu in catch wrestling. You have to make a massively adapted style because you pull guard,
Oh, we got
it's
a
game
cramp.
over, you know. Neck crank from inside the closed guard position there. I mean nasty wrestling, catch wrestling 101.
But it's not going to bother most jiu-jitsu guys, I think.
I don't know about, maybe not. Bother's a loose word.
Yeah,
triangle attempt there. It certainly looked like it was bothering
Paul's
Paul.
working on this K-guard position here. If he can pull his knee inside, and he's combining it with the triangle pretty well.
Yeah, he really needs to pull that right knee underneath, though. Otherwise, he's going to lose distance control as Ian smashes.
He's kind of got caught between the two almost. Like, it's like, I might be able to do the triangle, but in doing so, he's lost that leg positioning.
And also the possibility of arm barring on that right arm of Ian.
Yeah, and Ian just looks like he's pulling up on that head.
That was a nice entry.
But just a little bit too slow with that chop down of the leg.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. I think getting underneath those legs is going to be the strategy that Paul's going to want to be using. I mean, when we start thinking now about points and, you know, rounds and stuff like that, I mean, it's quite a hard one to judge, isn't it? Because I'd certainly say that Paul has been the more aggressive in the grappling, but then, you know, Ian has had the top position. I mean, do you class something like a can opener as a legitimate
I mean, it's forcing Paul to
attempt?
defend. I guess that's the most important thing, right? If he stayed in that
5
position, would he tap?
minutes.
Potentially, yes.
I don't know. I think that when you're judging,
there's that
back on that
K-guard
K-guard
position.
again.
Nah,
This
that
is
was
a much
better. That
better
was
bite.
better.
Needs to chop down with it, and then he should have chased up for the back there.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing some slow transitions here, which is kind of causing some problems.
Yeah. So back inside this guard position here. I mean, yeah, you know, when we're talking about what a legitimate submission attempt is, I think you kind of got to judge it somewhat on what's the investment from the person doing it. When you're moving your body into a position, when you're, you know, inverting to attack legs, or when you're falling backwards to attack an arm bar, moving your hips even from inside the guard, then these are actually doing things. But when you're just grabbing onto someone's head from inside closed guard and putting on it, how much are you really risking there?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Ian's a little bit kind of lost of what to do. He doesn't really seem to know how to pass this position that Paul's playing.
He doesn't seem to be making any real pass attempts.
I mean, that's again, he's on his knees. It's going to be very tricky to do that from this position. Here
This
he's
is
got
a
the
good
head
position.
again.
But again, from inside the closed guard, you know, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
He can put a lot of pressure and he can make it uncomfortable.
I mean, you never know. This is we can't really be looking at this match in the way that we're going to look at the majority of matches tonight from a purely jiu-jitsu standpoint. We have to remember that Ian is really coming with that catch wrestling style. He is going to be going for neck cranks, like in a way that we don't see people do in normal jiu-jitsu tournaments. He's going to be going for that, you know, cranking the head from every single angle where he's able to do it.
But at the same time, if you don't see it in normal jiu-jitsu tournaments and
There's
you're
a
not
reason
seeing
for
a
it.
submission from it, then there's a reason that it's not a
agree.
real submission.
Yeah, I mean,
So can you then score it as one?
Yeah.
For neck cranks to be really effective, you need to get 2 planes of movement, not just a forward movement from that can open. You need some kind of directional sideways movement as well. That's how you're really going to apply the pressure. I mean, we've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, we're into the final round now. You know, it's an interesting one on, you know, for my money, I don't know. I really think it comes down to the only attacks really that Ian's been going for. There's nothing close to a pass. All he's been going for are these neck cranks, and the question is how legitimate are these attempts? Whereas, although Paul hasn't really been successful in anything, he has been trying to do more.
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, that would be something that Ian should keep doing, is trying to use that guillotine to backstep out of the guard and then potentially pass. But he's just kind of too comfortable being in these positions, defending these attacks of Paul. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for it being 1-1 in the rounds. You know, Ian had a slightly more aggressive first period, and then Paul obviously did a little bit better when he started playing off his back. So it could really be all to play for in this last 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that's a good summary. And I think if Paul can get underneath into that K-guard, maybe get on a leg again, elicit a really big reaction, then that could be enough to steal this final round.
I think it's going to be hard. I think if I were Paul, I'd be turning up some speed and starting to snap down on the head, being heavy, trying to, you know, elicit some movement so that maybe I could open some space out. I think getting under with only 90 seconds left is going to be really hard.
Yeah, like it hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, if you haven't made it.
Now they're also very slippery as well, particularly the
bare
shirtless.
chest. I mean, it makes a massive difference when someone's not wearing a rash guard. After you get a little bit of sweat on there, it's just completely slick.
Yeah, and particularly if you're not used to training with it as well. Most guys are wearing rash guards in the gym, obviously.
Yep.
You know, if you're not used to that feeling, it's different, you know.
But I also, from here, I just don't see a lot that Ian is able to do. And again, pulling up on the head doesn't seem to be really offering any threat.
Yeah.
That's a nice position to start to pass from, though.
Yeah, he needs to keep pressuring this position.
Oy.
A foot to the throat there. I mean, this is interesting. Paul could be risking a big takedown in this final round from Ian that could secure it for him.
Yeah, I mean, Ian looks like he's breathing pretty hard right now.
Yeah, I definitely think that Paul's the fresher of the two men right now.
A bit of a leg kick there. We've got to remember we're doing jiu-jitsu and not MMA. There's Paul.
I mean, we've got the 19 pro
30
MMA fights from
seconds.
Ian and Paul out of Nottingham MMA, so these guys could forget it for a split
That's-
second.
That's past the guard.
But no real attempt to control.
Yeah, but now Ian's
I don't
on
know.
it again.
Yep.
You know, he had that guillotine when Paul shot as well.
I
If
think
Ian
this
can squeeze this-
secure him the final round, to be honest
think
with
it
you.
could. I think you're right.
Quite easily. If Ian keeps squeezing, you know,
I mean, this
forces
There's
Paul to
only
is
10
defend.
definitely
seconds.
the closest that we've seen from Ian.
Now, Paul needs to turn it up if he wants to get this.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think he's going to have
bit
enough
too
time
late.
to do that, and he certainly doesn't. I mean, quite an interesting match. It was quite tentative, especially from
Yeah.
Ian on top. Really respecting the guard game of Paul off of his back. A really interesting one to judge. I think it might go down to how the first round was judged, or you know, how that last sequence was judged.
I think it's probably going to go, in my opinion, it's going down to that last sequence.
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't be surprised if Ian got this. I've been wrong many, many times before. Probably most of the time, so we'll see what the judges think.
So I think we saw 3 takedown attempts from Paul, every time stuffed quite easily and a guard pulled off of it.
But not a bad strategy if you want to pull guard to
Not
pull
at
off
all.
a shot.
Not at all. And brave as well to
Yeah,
shoot on someone
absolutely.
with that wrestling pedigree.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, without any further ado, let's send it down to our MC tonight to give us the judge's decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges' scorecards, and they see it for your winner by unanimous decision, Paul LUKOWSKI.
I mean, very, very close, and yeah, I can see it. I think possibly winning those first 2 rounds just based on sort of the more legitimate attacks off of the back. You know, Ian quite tentative in his advances there, but a very, very close match. I think either direction that would have gone, there's not too much that we could have said about it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, in this situation, I'm usually wrong. So,
It's usually a safe bet.
yeah, so normally go with my opposite pick.
Okay, we have our next matchup now, which is going back to the small guys, the under 66 kilo division. We have Shawnee Stewart from Scotland taking on a local from Doncaster Martial Arts Centre. We have Jamie Faulding. Let's send it down to our MC to get these athletes on the map.
Let's get the action started. Our next bout is in the featherweight division and is scheduled for 10 minutes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, official weight 66 kilos. Representing Lycan's MA, please welcome Shawnee Stewart.
Shawnee Stewart, 33 years old, out of Lycan's Martial Arts in Scotland. He is the head coach at Lycan's. Plenty of grappling show experience. He's competed on Grapple Fest, Northern Submission Series. He's even competed against Polaris triple champ Ash Williams on Grapple Fest. Ash Williams, of course, we see in the corner, corner of the mat, I should say, as one of our judges tonight. So yeah, very, very exciting grappler coming out of Scotland. We're seeing quite a few good grapplers coming out of Scotland at the moment. We've got quite a few of them on these prelims tonight.
And now let's welcome his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 68.3 kilos. Representing Doncaster Martial Arts Center, please welcome Jamie FAULDING.
A lot of noise from the audience as Jamie FAULDING is announced. A local here from Doncaster Martial Arts Center, a black belt, an MMA fighter with a 2-0 amateur and a 1-1 pro record, currently with Bellator. A bit of an unknown quantity when it comes to competitive grappling, so I think stylistically this could be a matchup. I think he doesn't have the experience in the grappling competitions that his opponent Shawnee has, but you know, certainly training very, very hard, as do all pro MMA fighters. An immediate guard pull by the Scotsman.
Oh, and he's thought he was about to go corpse guard. Seems very, very relaxed.
I mean, there's a point of being so relaxed that it's almost a bit of gamesmanship. You know, you're almost taunting your opponent. Look how calm I am whilst I'm trying to take you on.
Yeah.
When you pull guard against somebody in most organizations, the person on top has the responsibility to engage with the guard.
Yeah.
So by moving backwards, Jamie's actually not engaging properly, and eventually I think we're going to see a call to move forward.
And there it is.
There it is.
Very well called, Chelsea. But you're absolutely right. It's the equivalent of, imagine if there's an MMA fight and someone's pressing forward and the other person is just repeatedly backing up out of range. It's the same sort of idea.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really serve any purpose either. He's not going to pass the guard by going backwards.
That's correct.
He's trying to bait him into standing back up, but that's not really how the rules work.
I mean, a nice knee cut there. Almost successful far side underhook. Shawnee just able to get the legs on the inside and takes top position, but a nice bit of passing work almost by Jamie.
Yeah, it was really just that grip on the toes that stopped Jamie from passing.
Well, it looks like we might see, for a second there, looked like we're going to see a bit of float passing there by Shawnee Stewart, now in a body lock position. He has a deep body lock and has released it with that left hand.
It was a good decision to get out of that butterfly guard.
Yeah.
Now he's able to smash the hips over a little bit.
I mean, nice guard retention work from Jamie underneath there.
There's not a ton of pressure going on by Shawnee at the moment. He's just kind of pummeling a little bit and maybe looking for an opening.
I mean, this is classic high-level 66-kilo passing, right? A lot of the time. Well, I mean, for you, Tom, it's slightly different because I know that you like to pass with a lot of pressure. Yeah,
yeah, but if you look at, like, you know, like all the top guys in the ADCC, there's tons more pressure.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that's more.
If you look at who's the guy who passed Mikey's guard, that was just tons and tons of pressure, continuous. Like,
Mayasa Bassos is a good example as well. Very small but amazing top pressure.
Yeah. That's the thing. I've been very fortunate to train with a lot of very high-level, lightweight guys, and their pressure on top is crazy. Like, even being small, it might not look like they're heavy, but they are just iron when they're on top of you and impossible to move.
Guy Mendez has one of the worst cross faces I've ever felt in my life, and he's not a big man.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to use your pressure more effectively when you're small, but you definitely can have good pressure.
Oh, jumps over the top there into an arm-in guillotine, and he looks like, we can't quite see from this angle, but I think his arm's under the neck.
Might be under the neck.
Yeah, thinking about switching it maybe to a Bravo or DOS.
Yeah, he's coming back up on top.
Anaconda. Oh, I think he's underneath. He's putting the hips into it, which...
Looks like he might be looking for that dog bar. And it's out of position now.
He's easing off on that pressure now, so I think he doesn't think he has the position anymore. And Jamie doing a good job of taking top position.
He's still got the head.
Well, he lost it for a second, then re-entered it as he went onto his back. Releases it again. A nice job by Jamie to defend against multiple guillotine attempts there.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of this first period, and it's been it's been pretty much mostly Shawnee, doing the work, getting into those positions on top.
Yeah, I definitely give the edge to Shawnee, but so far I'm pretty impressed with Jamie's defensive capabilities.
I think we could see more success passing if Shawnee would move towards the leg weave rather than trying to keep cutting towards the knee slide.
Yeah, it looks like he's almost, that's kind of onto the leg drag, but there's no control over the hips, so it'll be relatively simple to move. Has to be careful here.
Nice work from Jamie, immediately trying to attack the legs. I mean, Shawnee just too fast to defend this. Back into almost into a body lock position here.
Yeah, see, if you're going to see like a traditional body lock pass position, that would be so much pressure going through the center of the body to smash those hips to the side.
This is the leg weave position. I think he should tuck his left knee, the one that's out the back here, under towards his right side.
Yeah.
Because he's losing control of the hips, trying to climb too fast here. That's a
better position. But then
the weight distribution's not there.
Yeah, it needed to be connected into a knee slide from there. Same here. You can just tuck that leg and then drive through it. Looked like he went for the Kimura.
I think he's trying too hard to roll for the back and not putting enough pressure into these really strong passing positions.
Beautiful back step for a second there. But I'm really impressed with the guard retention and guard regains from Jamie FAULDING.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing a good job, but it's, he does seem to be getting a little bit slower in what he's doing. This is a lot of hard work that he's having to do, just defending all the time.
Well, it's that relentless pressure, but not through being heavy, just by being relentless on the attacks. And, I mean, it looks like maybe a little bit of tiring from Jamie underneath there, but he tries to sit up now. Thought about guillotine of his own here and takes top position.
We're seeing that foot grip again from Shawnee. But now this is potentially into that DAS position.
Yeah, he's using that elbow, that left elbow, the back pressure, the head, to try and create enough space or to bring the head close in enough that he can shoot his right arm through and lock up a DAS.
Yeah, he needs to be careful that he doesn't get rolled on top.
Trying to come to the back now.
Nice job from Jamie. He needs to lock that
seatbelt. He's going to fall off the top, unfortunately. There we go. I mean, just a little bit too high on that back tape position. We find Shawnee Stewart back on top in this loose passing position we found him.
This is a good head and arm control position.
And there we go.
You can see the bite is good on it.
Yep, passed very, very tight here. He's on a deep shin on belly. Might look to pass to the mount or take the back from here.
That underhook is going to make it hard to go to the mount. I think he should look at north-south and maybe the Kimura grip here to take the back.
I think this is the first time we've seen Shawnee pass to side control. And again, a really nice guard regain.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the underhook. The underhook gives you the kind of running out escape that you have.
Again, just kind of missing the weight distribution with that leg weave position. This is better. This is better. At least the hips are smashed over now.
Yeah, he should still turn his hip a little bit more, though.
Yeah.
It would give him a better mobility in his hip that he could use as well.
See how we're able to re-guard there? If the hip was, if the left hip was flipped over, it wouldn't be as big of a problem for him.
Yeah, so you're talking about turning, Shawnee turning his hips.
You see the Scottish flag?
If that was dropped down, it'd be able to pummel his legs better.
I think, there we go, a beautiful straight into mount. There he goes. Finally is able to pass to a really dominant position in the mount, and he looks like he's moving high for the armbar, but...
He needs to keep his chest very low here. Jamie's got long legs and a good bridge.
Yeah, he's losing the control of the arms. This is a good position when you pin an arm out like this. It's actually very difficult to move from because your arm's at full extension, so you can't turn fully. Explosive bridge from Jamie trying to get out of it, though.
Yeah, into our third and final round now. You've got to give all three rounds, or both rounds and so far this third round, to Shawnee Stewart. But once again, Jamie able to bridge into the full guard of Shawnee Stewart. I'm really impressed with the grappling ability.
Yeah, the tenacity is
good. Yeah, absolutely. No quitting him.
I think the big thing we're seeing here is just like a lack of tightness at the very end of positions here.
Yeah, you know, if you add that extra little bit of pressure, it's going to just make your opponent more tired, you know.
Jamie tries to come over the top, finds himself on his back.
Again to the leg weave, but I would really like to see that left
hip
knee
turn, yep.
shoved through the gap between both of Jamie's legs, essentially.
I mean, I think Shawnee's just not, it looks like he's not super used to someone with as dexterous legs in those guard regain positions, because, I mean, Jamie is really impressive with his legs here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first tight kind of leg entanglement, but there was no control in the position. Shawnee should have taken his time a little bit more and just really solidified it and then decided to attack the leg.
I think that was a good choice. He has no need to really be in on the legs right now. He's winning these rounds, and I think that he's been having success going forward. You know, attacking the pass, attacking the mount. There's no reason for him to start sitting in on the legs and give Jamie a chance to take the match from a strategy perspective. So again, floating on top of that leg weave instead of flipping the hip over is really causing some problems.
Jamie just trying to spin around there and catch the legs. It's too easy to high step out there for Shawnee, though.
We're getting into a better passing position here.
Yeah, you should take that left arm and control the hips a little bit more with it rather than leaving it on the ground. It would make it harder for Jamie to use his hips to regard.
We're in the last minute here.
Lots of support from the crowd for Jamie. And oh my God, I was just about to say, he'll have to pull off something incredible to win this match at this point, and then jumps for a flying armbar. You've got to respect it.
Nice
Anyone
pass.
who's going for a flying armbar on the last minute of a match has my seal of approval.
I would be looking to climb towards the back here.
Yeah.
Keeping the head across the body.
He passed there, but you can see that left leg hooking on the inside, and he uses it to regain that right hook on the inside. Again, you know, consistently really good defensive work off of his back.
I think the problem that Shawnee's having is really he's not doing a lot with the upper body. Like, he's not holding with his arms very strongly, and it's giving Jamie a lot of play to move with.
Last couple of seconds now, and a shallow guillotine attempt before the buzzer goes. A really fun match that. I mean, very much one-way traffic from the Scotsman. I think no doubt in anyone's mind which way this match is going to go on the judges' scorecard. But I got to say, I'm really, for someone who doesn't have really very much in terms of pure grappling credentials, I'm really impressed with the defensive work and especially that guard retention work of Jamie FAULDING.
Yeah, he did a great job. Just kept repummeling, keep adjusting the hips.
Have a look at some of those replays. There we go, that guillotine attempt jumping over early. We saw Shawnee Stewart attack this guillotine a couple of times, and I think we're going to look at one of those leg lock attempts. I mean, Jamie went for it here, but just a little bit too loose.
Yeah, there was never any real danger or bite on the leg.
No, there wasn't.
Really nice knee slides, too, though.
Yeah,
Some
and
really nice knee slides.
This is a good position, but he just got too high. Didn't control that seatbelt well
Almost.
enough.
There were real moments where Jamie had a chance there, but for the most part, it was pretty much one-way traffic. Let's send it down to our MC tonight, Michael Vale, to give us the official judge's decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges' scorecards, and they see it for your winner by unanimous decision, Shawnee Stewart.
No surprises there. A very, very impressive performance. Fantastic to see Shawnee Stewart on the Polaris stage. I think we can find some really interesting matchups of Shawnee in the future, especially if we come back up north, which hopefully I think we will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, our next matchup is going to be a women's match in the under 60 kilo division from AVT, just 20 years old. We have Amy DERWANZ taking on Rosie Clarke from Ippon Gym. Let's throw it to Michael Bell to bring these two athletes onto the mat.
Let's get the action started. Our next bout is in the bantamweight division and is scheduled for 10 minutes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. She stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, official weight 59.6 kilos. Representing AVT, please welcome Amy DERWANZ.
Amy DERWANZ, just 20 years old, out of AVT, again with Danny Mitchell there in her corner. She's a coach actually at AVT, a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, plenty of big show experience, has competed on Grapple Fest and Northern Submission Series. She's actually competed against Rosie, who she'll be competing against tonight. They have competed before on the aforementioned Northern Submission Series. Last time Amy lost via decision, so I think she's going to be out for revenge tonight.
And now her opponent fighting out of the red corner. She stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, official weight 59.7 kilos. Representing Ippon Gym, let's welcome Rosie Clarke.
Rosie Clarke, again, very young at just 23 years old, out of Ippon Gym. A highly experienced competitor, competes all over the place in shows, in IBJJF, in local tournaments. I mean, she's competed on Northern Submission Series, Grapple Fest, Enyo. You also might recognize her if you watch Channel 4's SAS Who Dares Wins, which was airing just earlier this year, where she was one of the competitors. So she's gone through a lot of the SAS challenges through that TV show, possibly bolstering her mental fortitude. Like we said, already competed against Amy. She was victorious last time. I think this time going to make sure that she's solidifying that victory. Okay, here we go.
They're ready for it.
Yeah, it's great to see. I mean, both these girls have been training for, what, 7 years?
Yeah.
And they're only super young. It's amazing to see that we're starting to get competitors like that coming out of the UK.
It's also nice to see women happy wrestling. For a long time we had a lot of guard pulls in women's matches, and now we're seeing a lot more wrestling, a lot more exciting stand-up, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, some heavy collar time from both ladies here. That's it. Back in the day, you're right, Chelsea, the girls would be expected to pull guard pretty early. I mean, I think we're going to see tonight in our Women's Grand Prix, there's going to be a lot of wrestling.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, we had only men to train with, and wrestling large
that's a really
people,
good point. Yeah.
large people is very dangerous. So when you have somebody your size to wrestle, it's easy to wrestle. When it's somebody twice your size and twice your strength, it becomes more dangerous.
Rosie fine on this loose guillotine position here, but she's able to force Amy to take a guard position underneath half guard here. I don't think much is going to come out of that in terms of a submission for that guillotine, and Amy doing a good job of opening up that chest to try and release some of that pressure.
Stuck in the lockdown here a little bit.
Yeah, Amy just looks like she's going to try and sneak round to the back possibly. What do they call this, octopus guard?
Yeah, I think this is the octopus guard that we're seeing.
If Rosie can get her arm back in front of the face, then she's going to be able to put her flat, and it won't work, but we'll see if her shoulder flexibility will allow it. Yeah, good job flipping the hip over here. That's exactly what you need to do to kill the lockdown. You can see it immediately got rid of any problems that she was having with that hook.
Yeah. Nice frames from Amy underneath here, trying to keep some space. She wants to try and get an opponent low as possible down there so she can move the upper body. I've been playing around with this octopus guard position to take the back from underneath half and stuff, and I really like it, even from stuff like, even underneath side control.
Amy needs to be careful that Rosie's not able to slip her knee, because if she's able to clear the knee out of that half guard, she can switch back towards the knee slide and be in a very, very strong passing position.
Yeah, I think those knee pads are actually kind of hampering Rosie just a little bit and make it harder to slip that knee through.
Yeah.
Rosie's doing a good job of just kind of sitting on top, though, and keeping her weight down on
She needs to be careful and not try and rush the position and step out, though. She really needs to slip the knee and then slip back to the knee slide. Not try and high step out, because she's going to give up too much of her base. It's a nice position through the legs here to kind of try and separate out the legs. Really protecting against the lockdown. Yeah,
you see Rosie just kind of grab onto her own foot and pull it closer into the hip. That's going to make it much harder for Amy to tie that lockdown position up.
And now Amy is exposing her back, maybe unknowingly here, in an attempt to lock up the lockdown. But she's got it, lost it again.
Yeah, Rosie looks like she's going to try and take well, it looked like she was going to try and take a head and arm, but instead she still seems to be trying to tie up this far side, take that cross face, or...
I think she's too far down the body to take a head and arm at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Right now she is. Still trying to release that right leg.
This is a good position to start to step out from. There's the knee slide coming. Knee pops through. Okay, again, we're seeing that's the position I was speaking about in the last match, with the knee driven through the gap between the leg weave. This is a much stronger passing position. You can see how easy it was to just slip towards mount. Even though she's not quite there, she was able to dominate that exchange very easily.
Yeah, she's really grinding up Amy's body. You can see as she goes.
Yeah, fantastic job by Amy regaining that half guard position. It looked it looked pretty much for certain that Rosie was going to be able to take at least a 3/4 mount position, if not a full mount. But Amy, once again, able to get back to that half guard, using that lockdown to try and keep Rosie a little bit lower. But now she's in that head and arm, and she's got that gift wrap. You know, she hasn't locked up that gift wrap, but that arm is already across the body. So, I mean, a lot of pressure from this position here.
Yeah, I mean, Rosie was using that double under position, which has become quite popular recently to try transitioning up the body. Amy did a good job of just pulling that one arm back inside, but she's still got that heavy pressure on top. You can see Rosie looks like she might be just trying to punch that fist into the neck a little bit as well.
I think that if Rosie can escape her right knee, she's going to be able to slip this position quite easily. So Amy really needs to focus on not letting her have that knee free. Oh, now she's trapped the other one, it looks like, maybe. Yeah, really good adjustment there by Amy. She lost the lockdown on one leg and immediately switched to the other.
5 minutes.
So really nice transition there.
Yeah, and she's sneaking around towards the back here. You can see that octopus position working for her.
Again, Rosie just putting her back down and flipping the hip to kill that lockdown.
Yeah, what she wants to be doing when she takes this octopus position is if she's able to free some of her legs and get the hips out to the side, she might be able to actually use it. But she's come around, she's taken far side control over the far side shoulder. This is a really weird position now, because kind of if no one lets go, you're just kind of stuck, twisted, not wanting to release the control that you have, because it's going to, you know, give your opponent exactly what they want.
This is that cross face I was talking about. But again, not enough strength to get around to the back, I don't think.
Well, her leg's still tied up in that lockdown position, so it's not really ideal. There, she's managed to free it temporarily and hidden the foot. And then immediately Amy's gone back to this octopus position.
Really, we need to see a knee slide to really kill this lockdown and get us out of this kind of stalemate position.
Yeah, keeping this heavy top pressure from half guard's not really helping Rosie. She's, you know, Amy's done a great job of just defending it.
Oh, she's locked.
She's locked off a Darce, it looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Darce with the arm across the body.
I mean, no, it's a full rear naked choke. There's no arm involved here.
Is she asleep?
She's not asleep. No. I don't think there's enough pressure really, but I mean, she's putting everything into it. I can't quite see, but what a crazy submission this would be. And in doing so, she's found herself underneath mount. I mean, just prior to that, I was about to say, I'd quite like to see the referee just stand these girls up, because we've been stuck in this position for so long, and then suddenly two crazy things happen.
I would say that choke was pretty close, giving up how quickly that Amy was able to roll that out of mount. You know? And often when you're getting caught in a tight position, you're just kind of recovering. You don't quite have the same fight out of the position. you know, Amy capitalized that really well to get up onto the top.
I think the one danger there is whenever you kind of throw a Hail Mary, you expose yourself to things like the bottom of mount and things that you really don't want to be exposed to.
Well, I don't think that by the very nature of that attempt, she was exposing herself to the mount. I think that she just became so focused on that, the possibility of getting that finish, she forgot to keep that, maintain that guard position with her legs and found herself being passed.
I disagree, because when your hands are tied up on the choke,
That's
you
true.
have nothing
you have
to
less
push
frames,
with.
Yeah, she was really pulling her
Yeah,
into
she
the
was
chest
pulling
as
her
well.
onto the position.
That's fair.
Rosie looks like going for the hip bump.
That was a nice hip bump. That's a beautiful hip bump.
Straight to mount here. And like you said, Tom, we might see a little bit more stability here.
Yeah, she's got those feet crossed under the hips. That's a hard position for Amy to get out of. You can see that she can't bridge as effectively. She's trying to step on the heels to separate them out. Rosie just climbs up to a higher mount position.
I think that given that submission attempt, that second round might have gone to to Amy.
I think you can, we didn't have a super close eye on the exact timing of when that was on, but I think you can make a really strong argument that Amy, because so little happened, it was such a stalemate from that half guard position for the majority of that round, or pretty much all of it, that, yeah, I think that you could say that second round might have gone, if it was in that 3-minute 20
I'm pretty sure it
period.
was, but I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah, you see, she's starting. It looks like she's trying to tie up that gift wrap potentially. She's forcing Amy a little bit more onto her side.
Yep.
Can't really see what the hands do. Amy's done a good job of catching her back in half guard, and we go back into this more a head and arm position rather than the octopus guard this time, though.
She doesn't have the lockdown now. It doesn't seem to be searching for it in the same with the same kind of intensity as
she's
that.
going
There
for
we
it
go.
now. I mean, one of the problems with the lockdown and one of the benefits of it is it attaches you to your partner. So it can make it very difficult for you to like create space, to move around because you're so locked into your partner.
We've got 45 seconds left in this round. I think that both of them really need to kind of put some gas on here to ensure that they can eke a win out.
Yeah, Amy looks like she's trying to use that calf grip to maybe bridge over and towards her and get the sweep.
There's been a number of times where Amy's uncrossed her half guard, and it's been the perfect opportunity for Rosie to kind of turn up the speed, but instead she's so intent on smash passing that
like
she hasn't recognized the opportunity.
Yeah, that was a perfect position. That
Double
she was
underhooks
in
here.
Yeah, could get pulled into the triangle though.
She's going for it. 10 seconds left. I think it might be a little bit too little, too late here, but you love to see him going for that submission to the very end.
You got the Barada Platt.
I mean, if there was another 30 seconds of that match,
maybe,
that could have been something quite interesting there. So, I mean, a real back and forth between the two girls. That first 5 minutes of the match, a real stalemate from the half guard position. It started to get interesting with a rear naked choke from the side, looking really awkward. And then Rosie took mount, got reversed aside, and then was able to get this beautiful sweep into the mount position. And that, you know, for my money, I'm guessing.
We can see the time there, so it is.
It's just
inside the second period.
So I'd say second round to Amy, but I'm going to have to go with Rosie for the first and third.
Definitely
I
on the
suspect
third.
that's the way it's going to go. Yeah.
I mean, I'd agree. So we should probably go the other way, in all honesty.
You just shouldn't make predictions.
Don't make predictions. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they are collecting the score sheets now.
Rosie also with excellent hair today, I have to say.
She's winning the hair game.
Yeah, winning the hair game so far. We'll keep track.
Okay, I think they've tallied up the results. Let's send it down to our MC tonight, Michael Vale, to give us the official judge's decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, you go to the judges' scorecards, and they see it for your winner by unanimous decision, Rosie Clarke.
Yeah, as we suspected there, most likely the first and third round. Second was close, but I'd edge it to Amy. Great performance by Rosie, and you know, these two girls, I imagine we're going to see them compete against each other a dozen more times throughout their career, as they're both very much on that similar level.
It's kind of the nature of women's jiu-jitsu.
first UK competitor,
Yeah,
sorry, male
Male.
UK competitor to actually do that.
And immediately looking to attack a guillotine choke here is Ben Bennett.
He's on the neck as well.
He is on the
pretty
neck.
deep.
Ellis is looking quite pink under there.
Yeah.
He certainly is, but I
But
mean,
he's
some
folded
beautiful
the hips.
passes.
Yeah, he's folded the hips over. It's going to be hard to finish, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Dan.
I mean, this is kind of, we used to see Marcelo do something a little bit like that, but then, you know, he's just managed to kill the angle.
Slightly different body shape between
Yeah.
Marcelo Garcia and Ellis Younger, I
I
must say.
think the length really helped there. He was able to kind of move his head up next to Ben's head, which made it almost impossible for Ben to keep that guillotine strong.
Yeah, and we do need to talk about, you know, this is a step up in competition for Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellis has gone against some of the top grapplers in the world, whereas for Ben, this will really be a test for him to see what level he's at currently. But, you know, this is a fantastic match. You know, Ellis would normally, loads of the guys that we've seen on this card would usually find themselves on the main card of a Polaris, but of course, our main card is dominated by the Women's Grand Prix with just one super fight. Chris Weidman, of course, taking on Owen Livesey. But otherwise, we'd expect to see this on a main card usually. So this is a fantastic
Beautiful pass.
main event of our prelims. And I mean, Ellis just getting to work here. He passes the side control straight into a deep knee on belly position. And
That was a great pin with the foot to kind of jump over that butterfly hook that that Ben was using.
into
Really
mount here.
nice.
And you see Ben try to pick up that ankle that's just passed over into mount. And I mean,
He's
we can't
managed to grab
we
it.
can't see from the angle here. If we can get back around to that other angle, we can see that leg, because that's really where everything's
I
happening
think
there.
If
Ellis has
Ellis-
just kept it
Yeah,
flat.
if
and
Ellis
managed to get up
had
high.
managed to.
Yeah, because it looked like, I think we're in, solid mount position there. It was just so interesting to see as Ben tried to pick that up, how flat Ellis was able to keep his shin to the ground to stop that from
Yeah, I
happening.
mean, that's old school mounting 101, right? Drive
Oh,
the
yeah.
knee down,
Yeah,
flick
yeah,
the
yeah.
hip over. Very old school. But this is a great example of how you get that tight pressure on top, the close space that we didn't see in some of our earlier matches. You know, really what Ellis is doing wasn't much different, but he just killed
He
the
was a
space so
lot
much
tighter.
better.
I mean, like we said, like Ellis is, there's a reason that we're seeing this quality from Ellis that maybe we haven't seen on some of the other athletes tonight, because Ellis really
Look
is.
at that squeeze. Just
Yeah.
that is something that we saw over and over again in the other matches. When the bridge came and the hip lift happened, the top player would fall off.
Yep.
There's just no movement here. You can
Yeah.
see that Ellis has that tight head and arm control, and he's just hipping into those bridges.
Yeah, and a really nice adjustment there, dropping back down that stage so that he doesn't get caught in half
Yeah,
guard.
Ben
Ben did
finally-
manage to do
yeah,
it, which is
Yeah.
great.
Ben's finally able to recover back to a three-quarter mount position, but expect to see Ellis continuing the drive forward. This is quite interesting to see from Ellis, a slightly different style than we've seen him in the past. We're used to a really, a very aggressive attacking, rolling back takes, and a great open guard. But it's fantastic to see him playing a really tight top control. Again, he's about to pop that foot out and try and pass back into the mount. Ben Bennett underneath trying to hold on to that ankle with everything he has.
think Ellis needs to get a better bite on the cross face on the overhook side, because the head is able to bobble around and Ben is able to recover his guard a little bit.
Okay, back into a better guard position here. It looks like Ellis is about to hit a knee through guard pass. He's got that nice far side underhook control. Ben's trying to dig through with his right arm to get an underhook here to try and upset the position if Ellis is able to pass, but he's not able to do it. Again, nasty top pressure, and that knee is coming through. Ben using his left hand to try and push off of that hip to try and frame with everything that he has, but I think the inevitable is going to happen, and that leg is going to come out back into side control here.
And again, earlier we were talking about clearing the hip. That was a really good example of keeping the hip flipped. That knee that Ellis is using is keeping Ben from re-guarding.
Oh, there he goes.
He's
Ben's able to do it again.
Yeah,
but then that
but
time
it's
comes
not
popping straight out. Yeah.
It's not a true re-guard. It's just a foot trap. You know,
Yeah.
whereas
Back
we were
into
seeing
mount.
like an inversion
Oh, and this
to
is that
Granby.
horrible position of getting that arm isolated up high. It's very smothering.
And look how wide. You see how wide Ellis is getting his hips, because he's got such long legs. In order to bring his hips very low, he has to bring them very wide.
You can see
It looks like
Look,
Ben
Ben's
might be
raising it.
tapping, almost tapping here.
he might just be having that hand
Yeah.
up as a. This isn't very nice, and I don't like it.
I mean, yeah.
Ellis is
was
going for
very-
a
that was-
Nogi Ezekiel here, it looks like.
I mean, I don't expect Ben to be someone who would quit from the pressure. I think he's going to fight this until the very end. But I mean, so far, Ellis is absolutely putting on a top control clinic. Ben doing everything in his power to try and get back to some sort of guard, but the tightness on top, I mean, I haven't seen Ellis with this level of top pressure before. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
I think if I were in this situation, I would be waiting for that bridge and allow Ben to bridge and
take
look for the back. Yeah, because he has a strong bridge. You can see it. It's happening, and he's rotating fast.
Yeah, I mean, Ellis might just be trying to cook him a little bit, make Ben very tired so that when he does transition to that back, it's just going to be that little bit easier. You know, he's very much in control. Doesn't need to rush at all.
Yeah, I think I think that's exactly right, Tom. I think he's trying to wear him down.
Yeah, and he forces that bigger bridge, right? And when he does that, the back's easy.
And Ellis has a fantastic back take and a beautiful attack system from the back there. So I think that's eventually what he's going to be looking for. It's interesting to see him.
For that Ezekiel again.
It looks like it's interesting to see him going for these.
It's tight.
Yeah, it's such a, I don't know,
uncomfortable at the very least.
Maybe the long arms of Ellis, he's able to do it. I find it a horrendous position.
It hurts my wrists.
Yeah, I actually use this quite a lot. I use a fist in the neck, which works great. And it's even if you're not going to get the submission, it forces a reaction. It opens up that space, and it makes Ben tireder.
More tired.
Yeah.
More tired.
I didn't want to say anything, but your wife is going to pick you up on
Else will always pick me up on that.
So kind of her to do that on live broadcast.
She's helping me.
Yeah, I'm helping him be better.
Human.
So yeah, more of the same over the last couple of minutes, and we'll be moving into our final. I perhaps think that maybe Ellis is waiting for the a little bit longer to go on the time so he can start trying to advance his position a bit.
I think that you're right. I think that he was waiting for that third round to kick in.
Let's find out. Let's see in 5 seconds. He might look back up at the clock if he can. Or,
he's gone back to it, Ezekiel again. The other problem that you do have when you play such a tight game, there's not a lot of openings that are created by your opponent. You know, it can be harder. If when you're moving around, you got a lot of things happening, it's easier to sometimes capitalize on those spaces that are created. When there's tight pressure, not so much.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Ellis is dripping too. So all of this pressure is using a lot of power. So he might want to not take too many risks at this point because he's burned a lot of power just, grinding through these positions.
With that isometric holding,
yeah. Like we just saw it when he lifted his chest up, he's dripping with sweat. So, and it's cold in here.
Yeah.
So he might have just burnt through a lot of that squeeze, and he's trying to get into a good position before he really starts to open up.
I feel like we see Ellis look like this quite a lot, though.
This is again where I'd kind of like to see an increase in the pace, though.
Yeah.
We've got almost less than 2 minutes left. Ellis has, I think, won these last 2 rounds, so I'd really like to see him kind of open up and do a little bit more.
Exactly. Let's, he's put on a great performance. Let's leave like a stamp in the people's minds about just how good he is, and show some more of his jiu-jitsu.
It's one of those things where it can be so hard to get to mount that you just never want to let it go. But on a show, you have separate concerns, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, he can't really take the back here because Ben's right elbow is just staying out. That's going to prevent the hip change.
He could adjust that just by lifting his chest.
Yeah, and punching that knee across, punching the elbow across.
Exactly. So again, pace is slowing down. We've got about just over a minute left.
Yeah, I mean, I really would like to see Ellis start looking to work for something. He's working, look at this, the long legs of Ellis Younger, able to get a body triangle from on top of mount position here. I think now's the time for Ellis. Ellis
has looked uncomfortable.
Yeah. Ellis has looked flawless in this match so far, but it would be a shame for him to be so dominant without a submission.
Yeah, he's trying to get that smother.
I don't think you're going to get someone like Ben Bennett with something like a smother.
I mean, he's got a sweaty rash guard on.
Yeah, I mean, but you're going to need more than that. I think he should look to maybe open up that space a little bit, look for a scramble, and maybe try and take the back, I think is the best option. But I'd love to see Ellis try and work
Ellis
for
is very good in those scrambles.
Yeah, he is. He's great.
He really is. Does some of his best work from there when people are like kind of moving around slightly off balance.
30 seconds left.
30
We're going to see.
He's looking for that high
maybe
mount.
Come high, high mount, arm bar or triangle.
Exactly.
Yeah, legs coming high here. 20 seconds left. Come on, Ellis. Throw us a sub at the end here.
Yeah, you got 20 seconds, man. Come on, do it.
Oh, no. Smother again.
There's the back, Ellis.
Maybe a little bit too little too late here. I mean, a super dominant performance from Ellis. No doubt who's going to take the victory here, but just when someone's that dominant, you want to see a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Holding the mount position for what? 9 minutes, pretty much, all together there. So yeah, you know, a massive step up in competition for Ben. All smiles from him. I mean, I'm sure he's quite happy to be out of underneath Ellis Bunker's mount after a long time. Must have felt like an eternity under there. They're going to be tallying up the scorecards, and we're going to see some of the highlights here. Not a huge amount to go off of this early guillotine attempt by Ben.
Nice attempt on that
and
guillotine.
It was,
there.
but then, you know, at the same time, it was a nice attempt, but it put him on his back, which was really the beginning of a very slow and painful end. Once Ellis was able to get to that top position, he dominated, especially that second time he took the mount again, and then there was really nothing Ben could do. We'll send it over to our MC tonight for the last time on our prelims to give us the official judges' decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges' scorecards, and they see it for your winner by unanimous decision, Ellis Younger.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt in anyone's mind that Ellis was going to be taking that win. I mean, a fantastic performance by him. I can't wait to see Ellis back on the Polaris stage. Always great to watch him. I'm really interested to see how this top pressure game that he seems to be developing is going to go. But I'd love to see a little bit more of that old school Ellis aggression to get that sub after dominating.
Yeah, or mixing those two things up.
Mixing those two things together.
Play with it a little bit, particularly when you've been so dominant the whole match.
Yeah. So that was our Polaris 23 prelims. Of course, in just 20 minutes at 7 o'clock UK time, we have our main card. We have really this enormous, absolutely massive Women's Grand Prix with all of the best female grapplers in the world, let's be honest. And then we also have our massive super fight, former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman taking on Owen Livesey. We will catch you back for our main card in 20 minutes at 7 o'clock. See you then.